This video is going to look at using number lines to do percentage problems, and where we're really looking at finding the full amount or the 100% amount. Let's have a look at a couple of examples. Iron Man moves 12% of crushed rock from his driveway, which amounts to 960 kgs. If this is only 12% of the total amount of rubble to be removed, work out the total quantity of rubble to be removed. So the first thing we do is we want to draw a number line, and I'm going to put a percentage on the bottom and then kgs on the top, so kgs of rubble, and I'm going to pop in 100%. So 100% is the total amount of rubble to be removed, and that's what we're trying to work out. So we're trying to work out what is the total amount of rubble to be removed. What we do know is that 12%, which is somewhere down here, 12% is the same as 960 kgs. So we've got our number line, we've placed our given information on the number line. Now we need to work with this number line to work out what is this amount here. Okay, so I'm looking at 12 and 960. Eventually I want to get up to 100%. So I can't see a number that I can multiply 12 by to get 100%. But I know that 4%, so if I could somehow find 4% then multiplied by 25 will give me 100%. So I can see that I can easily go from 12% to 4% by dividing by 3. So I need to do the same to this 960 kgs. So we're dividing by 3. So divide by 3. 960 divided by 3 gives me 320. So 320 kgs is the same as 4%. Now 4%, if I multiply that by 25, I'll get 100%, which means I must also multiply 320 kgs by 25 as well. So what we can do is just do a little bit of number working on the side here. So 320 times 25. If I split that up, that's the same as saying 320 times 20 plus 320 times 5. 320 times 20 will give me, well, 2 times 32 is 64. So 20 times 32 will give me 640. 20 times 320 will give me 6,400, and then I'm just doing 320 times 5. So if I go 5 times 32, that's the same as 160. So therefore 5 times 320 will be 1,600. So if I'm adding these two together, I get 8,000. So 320 times 25 is 8,000 kgs. So 8,000 kgs is the total quantity of rubble. Okay, let's have a look at the next question. Thor uses about 35% of lightning power from his hammer to light a huge bonfire. If this equates to 91 units of power, what is the maximum capacity of power in his hammer? So what we're saying, if I were to write a short mathematical statement, we're saying that 35% of the total amount of power in his hammer is equal to 91. So this amount here is 100%. So if we do a number line, 100% is what we're trying to find. But we do know that 35%, which is about there, we know that 35% of the total amount is equal to 91 units of power. So now I want to work out how to get from 35% to 100%. And I'm looking at 91 and 35. So 91 is not divisible by 5, so I'm not going to divide 35% by 5. But is it divisible by 7? Because I know that 35% is nicely divisible by 7 to give me 5%. So is 91 divisible by 7? Well, it turns out that it is. 7 into 9 goes once with 2 remainder. So 7 into 21 goes 3. So 91 divided by 7 is equal to 13. So 5% of the total capacity is 13 units of power. So now I can see to go from 5% right up to 100%, I need to multiply by 20, which means I need to do the same to that 13. So that 13 also multiply by 20 will give me the maximum capacity or the total capacity in Thor's hammer. So 13 times 2 gives me 26. So 13 times 20 will give me 260. So 260 units of power is the maximum capacity in Thor's hammer. Okay, this last question here, maybe have a go at it. Pause the video now, have a go, and then I'll bring the answer up in about 5 to 10 seconds. How did you go with this question? Hopefully you had a number line which looked like this. 100% is what we're trying to find, the total area. And we also know that 27% of that area is now rubble, which equates to 108 square kilometres. So looking at 27% and 108, I can't quite go from 27 to 100, so I'm thinking about what could I do with 27% and 108. Well, 27% is divisible by 3, it's also divisible by 9, but then dividing 27 by 3 or 9 doesn't give me a percentage that I could multiply by to give 100%. So what I'm going to do is just divide 27%. I'm just going to divide that by 27 to get 1%. And I'm also going to do the same to 108. I'm hoping that 108 is divisible by 27. So divide that by 27. So I'm looking at 108 divided by 27, which I can work out to be 27 times what will give me 108. So if I double 27, 27 times 2 is equal to 54, and then 54 times 2 gives me 108. So 27 times 4 will give me 108. So 108 divided by 27 will give me 4. So 1% is actually 4 square kilometres. So 1% is 4, which means if I multiply 1% by 100 times 100, that'll give me 100%. So I also need to multiply 4. If I multiply 4 square kilometres by 100, I will obtain the total amount of area. So 4 times 100 gives me 400. So 400 square kilometres was the total area that was attacked by the Chitauri. With these types of problems, draw a number line and place on the number line the information that you know, and then just try and think about the numbers. When we're using a number line in this way, we are only dividing or multiplying, so no adding or subtracting up and down the number line. However, if, for example, you had the percentage 15%, 15% is made up of 10% plus 5%. So you could in fact find out what 10% is, and then find out what 5% is, and then you could add those two amounts together. However, when we're working out these types of problems, when we're finding the original quantity or the full amount, the full quantity, we're thinking about the numbers and seeing what other numbers divide evenly into the ones that we have been given.